Mexico there. And Robert Dornbos into the pits in the Dutch Cup.
For a long time period, Robert Dornbos was actually the fastest contractor. Now, here's the so that into turn a long way. Isn't going to turn. This side corner.
That's the 11th position, that is. Just outside Rd2 in the blue Indian entry. Two experienced drivers, and they're racing hard. Just ahead of them is the China car, in fact. Holding on to 10. That point of main position is still a threat from the likes of between Val and Rd2. Looking back now to these other over rear wing, blurring a little bit at speed. The Rd2, remember, I'm getting to grips with it for the first time in this year, enjoying the power, enjoying the downforce. But now attacking to England.
Well, it's just going to be a little bit Adrian will not concede easily as we go back to the front. Or a little bit behind the front, we should say, because you see R and that's on written in that second.
Yeah, 2.7 seconds gap behind first second. So Portugal really controls the pace of the race at the moment. It's 17.5. Philippe Albuquerque last time.
Well, beginning again, this comes away by half a second or so. Well, back in the last lap, just under a second, 10th of a second. Quicker than Tim Allen, accelerating out of turn 4 wheels from the car. Careful with the full lot, just over 5.
Yanni, it's hard on after it. You're back on board with Saudi after Australia. Oh, and there's a little battle of the Dakar. Tries out Indonesia, and not effective for position because Netherlands lost early, but it's Robert of overtaking as many cars as he sits on track. That's what we're going to try.
We need to, because you know, 34 laps in this race. Don't sit back, relax, push all the way as we're seeing right now. Back forward, Malaysia and 6th, Australia 5th, and Switzerland just.
No, it's Korea. The problem is they've got caught up behind Korea. That was in Malaysia.
Yes, but that's the chance. Sort of zipped away. And Chris out of turn 15 on power boost, gets ahead in Malaysia. The same thing, but not push up. But he looked down the inside, coming for a long way. Korea will be aware of the Malaysian car. I don't know if it was or not on the Maros 5. You lose yourself away. What could have been? Who's going to get stopped?
That was close, wasn't it? Of course, the thing is, to use 7 of his power boost. He's gone past. He's used 7 of his power boost, so he's felt the power boost there. That gave Australia the edge because they've still got plenty left in the bank.
Australia did take advantage of having used power boost, so they and the great power. Of course, they were laughing.
Last time around, the game made the same between Great Britain and you've got Ireland and Switzerland. The Swiss car, the on to position for the Swiss looking at their positions after the indoor place in Australia was one of the big games that they've gained 2 positions before and after the pit stop. Wonderful work by the crew there, Alan Docking and his lads, and they're always fast on the pit stops, the Australian crew, and they've proved it again. That's why they are all place. John Martin's driving well. He's been under pressure from Mark, but he's withstood it so far.
He's able to get through, overtake the Korean car coming into turn 1. The Malaysia cars from the back action going on with Francis going on the Indonesian car.
Yeah, Nicholas Prost there. He's running in his position. To see what the lap times he might. Let's see what India has been up to here. Marine car, big. Always got great car control, but will cost him time.
To turn in nose right to the lights further on the racetrack. Live action 32 laps ago.
Oh, New Zealand are still running. Running 13th now. I don't know what happened there. He's suddenly big, all down the pit. He's now back. He hasn't lost a lap or anything, but he is down in 13th.
That may be a reason on the car. Something apparently goes wrong. You just push the button. To me very much. He's so down almost. We saw Brazil in this big race. Come in.
Tell us more about New Zealand. What's their story?
much what you just said, John. He appeared to be some sort of electrical when he just lost all power. He switched off the master, got everything, he switched back on, he's able to continue. So, right now, he's reporting the car's running pretty fine. He's got some lost.
Thanks for that. So he's ahead. They're the ones shadowing Italy. Quick mention the US Rd2 on his debut in A1GP this week. He's in the fourth at the moment. So USA running in ninth place. Never hard in France. Well, there's the Dutch country said he's got to win with saying everything he sees. And that's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's clearly much bigger. He's right lunch up, and then he had bigger lap. There's the door little push. A lap down in 19th position. It's not all over yet.
No, Portugal getting a bit more of a gap over Great Britain. So the lead up front in this race is just a 3 seconds. It will be right on for New Zealand. Chris Vanderdrift for first period of racing in A1GP. And so far, well, it's a bit of a difficult weekend. Didn't qualify as expected. Then he's had a problem with the third. And now he's just trying to get back to the rhythm here. As behind him, Lebanon, Daniel Murad is busy trying to hold on from Dutch car. He may not be aware of course Dutch car is actually
looking here at race leader Alberg, and he's got a 3 second and lapping about a couple of minutes or so a second because Marco Andretti team USA in place, and he's some 6 seconds in France to his next mark to try and move on.
Currently, so that's got to be something that they need to do with the score a little bit exam at the wheel out of each runner in the past. Some of the US first ever win that was in at the end of last season. Marco Andretti now just get a little bit more to the car, to the whole environment of riding.
I think with Marco, he has to do long distance races, Indy and other races, so I mean, the stamina's there. He's competing in his race.
Let's see what they have this time. Just cross the line. Portugal now with 3.6 seconds advantage. Call that Felipe Albuquerque. It's good. Marcaro has slight British correct. There's a machine of Ghana. Back to Australia, still running fifth. And finally, for us, Fauzi. Then just a little bit of gap to Monaco and France. And separated by 1 seconds. A little separate individual battles we're looking at here. There's John Martin and Fauzi, Australia, Malaysia, still on the fifth.
The pit window for the 600 pit stop open up in a couple. Saw Portugal come in at the earliest opportunity. A really super pit stop. Saw them take advantage and take the lead. So when they come in the earliest convenience, this one or follow the people that was so successful for them a little bit earlier.
Yep, we'll wait to see and can they put it together. The pit stop of caliber really outstanding. The pit for Team Portugal. So it was Portugal and Australia that were really the two most impressive teams when it came to the first round pit stop. We'll see what happens in the second stop. Fairly soon, as you see the last, the window opens up. This is the line. Advantage.
Yeah, and that's every been 2 10 seconds. Leave Albuquerque been pulling away from Great Britain. Alan right under a second behind in third place. Switzerland just 2.5 seconds away from Ireland. More significantly, 7.3 seconds behind the race leader. And that's going to be some Switzerland really being up and very much the quality of success last year.
The Korean there to be backed by Team China, hoping running in 10. South Africa and India. Then it's New Zealand, the Dutch girl that pushes that down. Battle between England and Italy for position. This is 14th place. And put on a show. Annie for Lebanon. And Eduardo Piscopo trying to get the card on the inside, but Daniel says, I'm sure on you there, but there's a chance for Italy to come back it in the exit. Oh, we can't do it. Brad's in a line and too far to go.
But the space between these two corners not sufficiently long to get down the inside.